Yo.
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie the First. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Chaz Match Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan African Happy Man. A creative industry attorney. I'm an author. I'm an artist. I'm an actionist. And right now, I am the host of Lion Talk Live. Welcome to Lion Talk Live and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where the lions are telling our own story. Welcome. Tonight, we have a very special episode. I was trying to load my intro. I don't know what's going on. The technology keeps on shutting it down. So we're gonna do things a little bit different tonight. I'll try to load it up at the end of the episode. You know, we have our commercials, our sponsors, and everything like that. So I like to begin and set the tone with the community, with the village. But you know, Babylon always finds something. So for whatever reason, it is rebelling today and it's not working. So we're just going straight into the programming tonight. But we have a lot to talk about. So if you're watching live, big up yourself. We are here broadcasting in the midst of the Armageddon war. We told you here that the war would restart. Don't watch the starts and the stops. It's one conclusion. They're going to the final destruction of someone. We don't know who that's going to be or when it's going to be, but we know that Babylon will fall. And in the midst, we have to stay focused. We have to stay preparing ourselves to build the alternative to Babylon. So we told you don't watch all of the peace talks, all of these things, war, you know what I mean, until the philosophy that whole one race superior and another inferior is finally and totally discredited and abandoned until the ignoble and unhappy regimes, you know the whole saying. We're seeing that they did not heed the great advice of Kadamawi Haile Selassie the First, and now we find ourselves in a global catastrophe. So if you are watching live, let us know where you're watching from. Big up all of the Lion Pride globally. This community that we're building, it really is been a humbling experience. It's been a joy to see how the channel has grown. And I want to, of course, just big up the Global Lion Pride, the greatest online community on the planet. If you're watching live, I'm talking about the item. Without the item, we could not do what we're doing here. The item have the patience. You're with us through the ups and the downs, the Wi-Fi, the guy, all of these things that try to dismantle and bring us down. The item are here. And tonight, as a reward for the greatness, we have a legend joining us tonight. The daughter of the Gong, Leonard Percival Howell, is in studio here with us virtually. So we're going to go into some crucial history, first-hand history. You know, we love first-hand. And if you haven't seen her episode on Lion Talk, make sure you go and watch it. That was one of our classic episodes with Sister Kathy Howell here on the Lion Voice, if you haven't seen that. So tonight, we're not going to go through her journey as much. We're going to focus on her father and commemorating him. There's a big event going on in Jamaica. We're going to talk about that We'll be joined a little bit later by Yasus Afari as well, briefly. There are some major storms in Jamaica, so he's having Wi-Fi difficulties there as well. So we're battling through all of the elements. We're battling through all of the, everything. When you try to do good work, family, there's always things that try to bring you down and to stop the work. But what we want to tell you is that we have to just be resolute, keep pushing on, work with what we have. We don't complain about what is not going right. We work with what we have and we grow together as a nation, as a family, as a people, because these are unprecedented times. The war that's happening in Iran right now ensures that the world is facing a global depression. So by the fall, the whole world is going to be in a global energy crisis and depression. And two things can happen. We can be fearful, we can live a life of despair, or we can use it as an opportunity to come together like we've never done before and to rise and become members of a new race and to rise to the challenge and the equation. And the people are expecting that from us as Rastafari, because we have been singing about these times for decades. We have been chanting about these times for decades. When people thought we were mad people, 40 legging ahead, when people thought we were crazy, when the great Leonard Howell went up into the hills to form a sustainable community and people thought he was mad. He was seeing the vision of what was to come. At the crowning of the Black King, he thought only one thing could be happening. Babylon kingdom must fall. He couldn't know that it might be 100 years later that the fall would take place. But he knew that the kingdom must fall and that we must prepare. And the same call is still here for us as Rastafari. So we're going to get into all of that tonight. But before we get into that tonight, let me just big up the Lion Pride on Patreon, the Lion Pride. And if you subscribe, you're part of the Lion Pride. We are 73,800 strong across all the world. Big up to the Rastafari Society of Kenya. If you didn't see that episode, go and check out that episode. We have their contact information in the description. So if you want to send a strength to the Rastafari Society of Kenya, you can do that. I see Bob on the job with an early positive vibration. Big up yourself, Kingston, Jamaica, checking in. Big up yourself, Bob on the job. All of our family them, you know what I mean? Big up yourself. We had a great episode with the Rastafari Society of Kenya. And we have so much more in store. This Saturday, 10 a.m., we'll be going to South Africa and we'll be interviewing Garrett Prince, who has a case before the High Court in South Africa to legalize ganja for the Rastafari community. We're going to find out what's going on with that case in South Africa. So you can see, family, the Lion Voice Network, we are global in our scope, in our vision. We are not just stopping at the borders of Jamaica. We're not just stopping at the borders of the United States. We are bringing together the global Rastafari family in a oneness because we are one. We also have scheduled an interview next Wednesday with the children of Alex Haley. You remember the movie Roots? You remember the book Roots? Well, we have his descendants coming on the platform. We're going to be doing a special 50th anniversary of the book Roots, the book which changed how Black people saw the transatlantic kidnapping. We don't call it slave trade anymore because there was not trading, it was kidnapping of human beings. So the transatlantic trafficking, the book Roots that came out in 1976 was a seminal work. And we have his grandson and his nephew coming on the Lion Voice Network next Wednesday to talk about what they are doing to commemorate the legacy. So you see that we're not just dealing with Rastafari here. We are Pan-African channel, and Rastafari is a part of the wider Pan-African family. So I told the item we're going to be bringing more Pan-African content on the platform to speak to our brothers and sisters who are not Rastafari, so we can build that oneness, because this channel was created to preserve the Pan-African roots of Rastafari. And that's no disrespect to all of my European Rastafari family, or my Asian Rastafari family, or my East Indian Rastafari family. Because Rastafari, every nation, creed, and tongue has embraced His Majesty, and it's only growing, it's only spreading. But we have to preserve the Pan-African root. That's what Lion Voice is all about. We're keeping in our lane, and we are partnering with other people. You know, we have many European Rastafari brethren who are part of our Patreon, who love the mission, who support the mission, who send us contacts and links and everything. Big up brethren like Nick Nakus, who has not stopped sending out links and things. So we are not anti anybody over here. We are anti-wickedness, anti-Babylon, but we are pro-humanity. But we are here holding that Pan-African root, because we notice that that is being neglected. As Rastafari grows, we cannot grow away from the root. The root is Marcus Garvey. The root is Leonard Howell. The root is our brethren and sister like James Webb in Chicago, like Grover Redding in Chicago, who was the first martyr of Rastafari in 1919, led an insurrection in the name of Rastafari Makonnen in Chicago. These are the roots that we want to ensure that we preserve as Rastafari, that black root, because from that root, just like how Africa gave life to every nation, that Pan-African root gave birth to all of the nation, creed, and tongues that now hail him in his fullness and his glory. So this channel, we're going to be interviewing a lot more of our Pan-African family members who are not Rastafari, but are about the upliftment of Africa, about the upliftment of our story. So look out for that. So Wednesday, put it on your calendar. The children, the descendants, not the children, the descendants of Alex Haley will be on the platform talking about the 50th anniversary of the book Roots. And next year will be the 50th anniversary of the movie Roots. So we're going to be doing a whole series on Alex Haley and his contribution to Blackness here on the Lion Voice Network. We also have an interview lined up with the Abyssinians, who remember Sata Masagana, who remember Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, some big, big tune, courtesy of the Conscious Reggae concert. The Abyssinians are performing in Kingston, Jamaica for the first time in how long? And it's going to be an epic occasion. We have the promoter joining us Saturday, Ija Noah, and one of the artists who are performing are going to be joining us Saturday evening to talk about the Conscious Reggae concert taking place in Kingston with the Abyssinians headlining, hosted by Ron Machette and IRA FM hosts. It's going to be one of them historic in New Kingston. So if you're in Jamaica, make sure you get a ticket. We also have Devani Green, who has launched her book, Women Painted in Purple, which is a vigilante story, which is going to be one of the books that we'll be pushing here. You know, I'm the reading Ras. She wrote a book about women. It's a fictional book, but it's a story about women who turn into vigilantes and start to go after the rapists, the killer them, and they start wipe out the killer them. And it's a love story. It's an investigation. It's a fascinating book. We're going to be pushing it here. Sorry, I couldn't play the commercial, the technical difficulties, but we are going to be, she's one of our sponsors. So I'm asking the Lion Pride, please support. We'll be posting in our community page. We had a advertisement in our newsletter. So make sure you support all of the people who are spending their money with the Lion Voice Network. Make sure you spend your money with them. we are creating our ecosystem here. We are separating from Babylon by putting our money where our mouth is. So it's not enough that we, as Rastafari, chant and we go a stage show and wave a red, gold, and green flag. No, we have to create an economy, economic liberation. And this is what this channel is attempting to do. We have another children's book author that's coming on board in July. You'll see those advertisements coming shortly. So we're growing. And if you want to advertise with the channel, make sure you reach out. Now is the time. When we hit 100,000 subscribers, all of the prices are going to raise up. Also, big up our latest Ubuntu Lion Pride member, Rootsman, Sonny, I believe, the brethren name. If I got that wrong, I will make the correction on the next episode. But we still have our Ubuntu Lion Pride, which is one-time contribution, and you become a lifetime member of our Ubuntu Lion Pride. That's $100 US, and you are immortalized with the Lion Pride Network. That price is also going to go up when we hit 100,000 subscribers. So now is the time to come on board. As you can see, we're not slowing down. We're not easing up. We have some big artists that are coming on the platform. I'm not going to announce them till the time comes. We just dropped our episode with Dawe Congo. Have you seen the Dawe Congo episode yet? Clips. We're going to release the full episode on Monday. It's available right now for our Lion Pride on Patreon. So check it out. Dawe Congo is one of our mightyful roots reggae artists. So check it out. And we have much more where that comes from. So we're not slowing down. I was reasoning with a brethren who was about to join the Patreon. He said, brethren, I remember when you had 17 subscribers. Now you're at 73,000. So don't doubt. You know what I mean? This is inspired by Kadamawi Haile Selassie. I was practicing law, doing my thing, and I had this vision that we need a platform, you know what I mean? Because I'm advising all of these artists, all of these people, and they have nowhere to highlight what they're doing, and they're doing such fantastic work. And then I'm hearing in other places that Rastafari people are lazy. All we do is smoke ganja and argue and go a stage show. But that's not my experience. I'm seeing so much positive work out there. So I said, you know what, since I don't see the platform that is showing me these things, I'm going to create this platform. And His Majesty said, yes, my son, go and create the platform. And that's how the Lion Voice Network was born. And we have done what His Majesty has asked. We've been obedient to the calling. And look where we are now. One of the fastest growing Rastafari and Pan-African platforms on the planet. You know what I mean? We're speeding toward 100,000 subscribers. And we are doing 90,000 views a month right now. You know what I mean? So that's a stadium of people watching our content every month around the world. It's not a small feat, and that's the item who have done this. So I'm just a vessel. The people who are watching, the 16 people watching right now live, the hundreds of people who will watch this on the replay, the item are the reason that we are who we are as the Lion Voice Network. So we need even more strength. We reached 52 people in our Patreon. So we're starting our Lion Pride on Patreon grant program. We're going to be announcing our first grant awardee. We're going to be giving $100 US to some Rastafari worker around the world. We vote in our Lion Pride on Patreon. So if you want to nominate someone, you want to be a part of that, join the Lion Pride on Patreon, and you can be part of the change. And the vision is that we start to reward the people doing the work, that we start to put capital in the hands of the people who are doing the good work, many times as volunteers. We want to let them know they are seen and that we appreciate, love them as a community. And we start small because we're not making a lot of money here. But as the channel grows into a multi-million-dollar operation, we'll be able to bless people with thousands of dollars as a community so that they can feel encouraged. And I told everyone my vision. I'm just going to give you my vision, and then I'm going to bring my guests forward. You know, I'm long-winded, but we have a lot to talk about, and it's not foolishness. My vision is 50,000 of our Lion Pride giving $10 to our guests. That would be 500,000 US dollars in one episode. So I bring a guest on the platform. 50,000 people watch the episode. They all contribute $10 to that guest, and that guest walks away with 500,000 US. You think we're not going to build a Rastafari nation if we do that? How many people can we free from their 9 to 5, from their, free up to do their vision, to live in their purpose by waking up with 500,000 US in their bank account? Think about that. We can do that. We have the power. We are 73,000 strong. It might not happen until we reach 1 million subscribers. I understand that it's a percentage thing, but I'm going to keep on chanting that vision until it happens. And so every guest that come on the platform, we ask them how you can support them, and we are going to do that until it happens. You know what I mean? And I believe that we will see it happen together as a community. All right. Housekeeping out of the way. Big up Frontline Books. Reading Ras on the Frontline will return June 27. We have Jerry Small coming on the platform to celebrate the 90th anniversary of His Majesty's speech to the League of Nations. That's going to be June 30th. We have Wally King's Entertainment, iRoots Records. Big up iRoots Records. Make sure you support all of the sponsors. I'm going to try to run the commercials at the end. If you're just joining us, I tried to run the commercials at the beginning. It kept kicking me out. I don't know what was happening. So we had to freestyle, but we're skillful them with it. We had to freestyle today. But we have one of our esteemed elders today as a guest, and I want the item to give a warm welcome to our guest. She is the biological daughter of Leonard Percival Howell. She is a legend in her own right. She's keeping her father's legacy alive. She is kind enough to join us to talk about the legacy upcoming event that's taking place in Jamaica to commemorate at the Ras Tafari Institute, hosted by Yasus Afari. And we'll hopefully have him join us a little bit later. But right now, give a warm welcome to our beloved elder and legend, the great Kathy Howell. Royal greetings.
Greetings, my brother. Greeting in the name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah, the elector of the world. Greetings, ones and all. Greetings, brothers and sisters, globally. I greet you in the name of our Black sovereign superior being. And I say this because I've had so much teaching of African history. And one of the things that I value most from my father, I value our ancestors because they have done so much for us. You know, their blood, sweat, and tears. Right now, we are privileged to share what we have learned from our ancestors and to value them because we are our ancestors and we stand on the shoulder of our ancestors. My name is Sister Katherine Howell, I'm the youngest daughter of the Honorable Dr. Leonard Percival Howell, affectionately known as the founding father of the Rastafari movement in Jamaica. I know that there were others who have preached Rastafarian in Jamaica, but no other, and I mean no other, had the courage, the dedication, and humility and moral, not selling out to the oppressor, even to the politician in Jamaica, who were not even capable of understanding what liberation and freedom was. And our African people. And I see that the legacy that my father now has left is global. I think one of the things that I'm so proud of is the blending or the unification of Pan-African policies, and also the teaching of His Majesty and the spirituality that my father blend together, which he started what I would call a new paradigm in Jamaica. And it has, the Rastafarian movement is now a global culture and religion.
Yes, yes.
And I give thanks for that, because I don't care if you are Chinese, Indian, Asian, or from some other ethnic group, but everything begins in the motherland.
Yes.
Africa is the mother of civilization.
Yes.
And if you really understand history, then truly, you will understand what Leonard Howell had laid his life down for, the liberation and salvation of our people. I, as his youngest child, has grown up watching so much atrocity and the suffering that he endured.
Yes.
And they just could not break him. I mean, I see my mother cried in several times, and we were even ashamed of the humility of all the you know, my older brother is even right now, he's traumatized because he has never gotten over all the
Yes.
all, you know, our family really suffered. And I would say to my dad, why do you do this? You know, I mean, I don't think I could ever have done what my father did. A man who gave his life, you know, for his people. What greater love? You know, brother, black people are so ungrateful.
Yeah.
I know I couldn't do it. I swear to God, I know I couldn't do it because, you know, my father must be from some celestial. He must have been sent from some celestial being.
He was. But stick a pin. I want to introduce our guest, Yasus Afari, while he is here, because they have terrible weather condition in Jamaica. I don't know how long he's going to be on, just to tell us about this event at the Ras Tafari Institute. Can you hear me, Yasus? Greetings. Greetings. Can you hear me, my brother?
Yeah. Give thanks. I hear me?
Yeah, man, I hear the I know. While we have you, you're no stranger to the platform. Tell us what's going to happen at the Rastafari Institute to commemorate the Honorable Leonard Howell.
Yeah, give thanks, my brother. Greetings.
Who is that, Sister Katherine?
Yes, yes. Greetings. Greeting in the name of the Most High Jah. Rastafari.
Rastafari, we give thanks.
Yes. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Tell us about what's happening at the Institute. Yasus. We have to be patient, family, because it's some terrible rainstorm happening in Jamaica right now. So it's patchy. Tell us what's going to happen at the Institute, Yasus.
Well,
and he lives up in the mountains too. So we have to also realize he's not in Kingston. He's up in the mountains. So the Wi-Fi is a little challenging, but we're going to try our best to hear what he has to say. We're going to see if it's going to work out. If not,
it's designed to be supportive of the Rastafari community, and specifically
we're getting bits and pieces. Wi-Fi the guy, but let's hope he comes back in.
Howell Foundation to honor our stalwart cornerstone and his 128th Earth Strong. So this takes place on Sunday the 14th of June, which is 2 days before the Earth Day of the man himself. And so we start at 2 p.m. It is being spearheaded by the Leonard Percival Howell Foundation with stalwart support from Dr. Michael Barnett, as well as evidently Sister Katherine Howell and others. And so the event starts at 2 with speakers and presenters going as far as to 7:30 thereabout. You hearing me?
Yes, I continue.
Yes, so we have speakers like Dr. Michael Barnett, Moiston, Empress K, Hongo Pongo, quite a few other people, History Man, and several other people I might not be remembering off the top of my head, but you have the flyer, you can help us out. And Katherine Howell is coming in the island before the day and will be blessing us and gracing us with her distinguished presence on the 14th as well.
Give thanks. Give the people a little sound on the Rastafari Institute, because we couldn't hear the first part of your presentation. So just tell them, what is the Rastafari Institute?
Well, right, as you don't know, we're African people, and Mama Africa gave birth to all humanity. But Mama Africa was gang raped by her own children, the Europeans and the cohorts around the world. And then Rastafari is an indigenous, holistic and authentic response to that genocidal crucifixion. And so we are the resurrection and the life, breathing new thoughts, new perspectives, new values into the temple of the family of humanity. So the Rastafari Institute really was designed and initiated to really help to nurture the livity and the family of Rastafari, and to honor the Rastafari creed, and to embrace humanity in harmony with the directive of His Imperial Majesty, because our ultimate alignment is to our fellow man and woman within the human community. So we want to follow the teachings of His Imperial Majesties by extending our love and our formula to all humanity, and stay ready to be recipient of that reciprocation. Kind of giving you receive, and in receiving you give. So essentially, pretty much we want to be there to nurture Rastafari liberty, to preserve the heritage, to look after the elders, to look after the youngsters, to help to clothe the naked, and to feed the hungry, and to enlighten the unenlightened, and to nourish the sick, and do all what we can for the community. First and foremost, the Rastafari community, but the wider community as well. And so the Institute in its full glory, shall have a museum, a library, entrepreneurial center, creative arts space, a seed bank, a plant nursery, a spa, a cafe, additional accommodation, and to the workshops and seminars and conferences, physically and digitally. Already we're getting responses and requests from schools. We have had several workshops for schools, a visiting group from the UK recently. We have gotten an offer from the Jamaica Theological Seminary to help to foster an understanding between different faiths. And people already start give us books for our libraries, and we had really intended to open maybe 5 days a week initially, but that's kind of a tall ask. So we're gradually just doing calendar events now, and then soon and very soon we'll open up a 1 day for the strong and 1 day for bookings for especially students from schools and colleges and universities and visitors, and then gradually we usher in the other days so that we can be a full day-to-day operational institute, really. And we also have plans for summer camp, total immersion schools, where we want to immerse especially students in African culture. Certainly long before the criminal Christopher Columbus, but from the very dawn of human civilization, we want to immerse our people in that African reality. And to this, just to showcase and nurture and look after Rastafari liberty and look after each other and do what we can for the wider community as well.
Give thanks and just explain why it's important to connect with the Leonard Percival Howell Foundation and the legacy of Leonard Howell and how it's a continuum.
Well, I'm overwhelmed. If you read my book, Overstanding Rastafari, which was written nearly 20 years ago, you can know the sentiments we have for the man. And so we think that what Leonard Howell has done for Rastafari, for St. Catherine, for Jamaica, and for the world, by ushering the glory and the majesty and the divinity of His Imperial Majesty, is something which is pivotal in human recorded history. And so what he did with Pinnacle, in my research some years ago, we found a Pinnacle in Southern Africa. And that again made me revisit Leonard Howell, because I said, Rockstone. Say Leonard Howell and man, because the very fact said him call the place Pinnacle. And if you go to the place, you could understand why. But then if you research that cradle, the cradle called Pinnacle in South Africa. And so what he did for a self-reliant community, even though he was not getting the support from the wider society, as a matter of fact, the debacle and the situation that obtains at Pinnacle right now is a national disgrace. And so we want to correct that rather than pointing fingers. We would love to rename the street either Pinnacle Highway or Leonard Howell Highway. We want to give support to Chodiga Park. We want to lobby the government, and by starting by our own example, to teach and to exemplify and to magnify and to share the vision and the formula of Pinnacle that was employed at Pinnacle by Leonard Howell. And so we just want to uplift and celebrate the man and learn from him, continue to learn from him, and shine the light, continue to help shine the light that he lit and still somehow light. And so it's a mammoth task, but 1,000 miles start with one step. And so we think that Ras Tafari Institute, we don't think it's by accident that we are where we are, 2 miles from Pinnacle. So we think that we have an appointment with destiny. We have a shared appointment with destiny with Honorable Leonard Howell and the Pinnacle community, and by extension the Rastafari family, and by extension humanity, of which our father and mother are the father and mother of humanity. And that is why I want to embrace all humanity in honor of our mother, and Africa get the justice that she rightly deserves. And so with the Leonard Howell Foundation, we placenta situation, and just they first start learning for walk it and a creep still and a feed from my mother's breast. But nevertheless, we are alive and we are here. And we would want to miss the opportunity for salute and show love and lend some energies to the work and the vision and the magnificence of Leonard Howell and the vision of an example of Pinnacle.
Give thanks, give thanks. So Honorable Sister Kathy, hearing one of our great dub poets in Jamaica say that about your father, about your birthplace at Pinnacle. Yes. How does that? Yes. How does that make you feel? Yes,
Yes. You know, as a child growing up, I could not really appreciate my dad until I got older, because he was just dad, you know. I mean,
what made me feel? Sorry. Again, what made me feel?
Pardon me? No, I'm saying my father, as a child growing up, you know, I didn't appreciate him because, you know, we just call him dada, and not really recognizing and understanding the magnitude of this man. We could not really, I know he was a very mystical person. You know, he spoke with a voice, and he always say what he mean and mean what he says. He look you dead straight in your eyes, and I sometimes, I used to look at him, and he says to me one day, "I name you Catherine because you're going to catch them in St. Catherine." And you know, things my dad would say to me, I would laugh, and then I see, you know, how things materialize, and really hearing what the brother here has done, and makes me really feel a sense of, wow, you know, I would say I'm just blown away, you know, by all the work that I see this brother has put into this institute. And I personally would like to tell you that I'm here, brother, you know, to do the needful. You know, you can call on me at any time, you know, if you need your support, and also with the Leonard Howell Foundation, because we stand on the shoulder of our ancestors, and we are responsible for the next generation. And we have to leave our benchmark behind so our next generation can learn from us, from us. And that's one of the reasons when my dad passed away, I started agitating for those parcels of land, which at the time it was 2,000 acres of land. My father was a philanthropist, by the way, that he gave those parcels of land for people to unite, to organize and centralize, to repatriate back to Ethiopia under the EWF umbrella, because land were given to Black people by His Majesty to come back to Africa. And my father actually started repatriation, internal repatriation in Pinnacle. And one of the things that he did was develop an economic system, you know, whereas each person would be financially stable to go to Ethiopia as a skilled person or a professional person. So my dad passed, and so when my dad passed, there was a law in Jamaica that Manley had says that if lands were sitting, people could go and live on it and take over those parcels of land. Now, when my dad passed away, it was a political, it was in the 80s, and Jamaica was going through a political crisis. A lot of people were running away, leaving their houses in Jamaica, their property in Jamaica, because they didn't want to be killed and to be murdered by these gangs and these thugs that was going around killing people because you were wearing a certain color. And my family moved and actually moved away from Jamaica, but and left Jamaica, especially the fact that my dad wasn't living there anymore. So most of my family have migrated to Canada, England, and the US. And so the property was just there stagnant, but the Rasta were still living on the property. And I had a conversation with Michael Manley, the Prime Minister at the time, who mentioned to me, because he actually loved my dad. He adored my dad. He honored my dad because of the person that my father was. And so Manley was, Michael Manley was a man that knew about Black history. And so he had ensured my father that as long as someone was living on the land, it would not be taken away. But of course, Manley himself passed away. The government changed. And then the same family whose name I won't call, but it's written and it's there in the book, knew about my father's property, that it was there. So they thought they would find a way to take over my dad's estate. And so we went through a court battle for about 6 years, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And finally, they got possession of my father's land. And then I went to the Prime Minister and asked that there should be a portion of that land that should be given for a Rasta heritage site in Pinnacle. And we actually had several conversations about that over the years. And finally they had agreed. But it was just a constantly uphill, downhill, uphill, downhill, uphill, downhill. One prime minister come, take over, another one come, another change. And so it just continue on. So at the end of the day, I was told that there were some lots that have been allotted to the heritage site. And so we can move forward in achieving those objectives. But at the end of the day, Pinnacle is the birthplace of the Rastafarian movement. And it's located in St. Catherine. And as our brother says, that the Institute is just about 2 miles away from Pinnacle. That makes me also feel good that the Institute is established in the parish of St. Catherine also.
Definitely.
And even the place, it's like up the road where we are, the place is called Casa de la Vega. And so we are almost like a fertile ground in a meadow. So we think that it is designed for us to help fertilize the vision of Leonard Howell and Pinnacle and by extension, the Rastafari community. So technology giving us some challenge, but I want to say this, Sister Katherine, before we continue, or whatever will happen. You see, the first supper that we have on January 1, it was scheduled to have started at 2 o'clock, and the rain started falling at 2. And people were very concerned. Some people turned back, some people take off at them clothes. And me, I said, listen, everything good. And the rain stopped falling, and that at 4. That people were like, wow. And we had a good event. But listen this now. More women were there, I think, than man. And more non-Rastafarian were there than Rastafari. People from different faiths and even Christian society people. But here I am saying this now. The love when I hear people express for Leonard Howell, it catch me off guard. I was pleasantly surprised. And I was shocked, you know. But the type of people and the love that them express, it really inspired me. And even this virgin called Keith, now the man didn't have locks, they identify with Rastafari, but they love Leonard Howell. They love the example. Him say, remember the day in 1958, remember the exact year, and him see the police jeep, them go up Pinnacle and them see the situation, and as children, them never feel good about what them see. And them grew up with a memory there, and them come see the example where the man said, and them heart goes out for him, and them have a special place. And I would like to tell you how that inspired me. And so, me I go do all in my possible capability, willingness, and forget even the name to change so that it can be there as a reminder for the children born and unborn, and we have the society who had such a lofty vision, where people around the world are amazed by up to this day. If you see the people that were there with us on the 16th of May, or one woman getting a spirit, maybe wasn't like that yet. And the vibe where people feel almost like say them at a sacred ground. And these people are not Rasta people, none of them are white people. Some of them are black people living in the UK. And the reverence that them have. And the willingness to support, and them are telling me thanks every 5 minutes because I come out, it's almost like them touch a holy ground, bro. So it's almost like we supposed to know what we have. And if we know what we have, we buck it over from time to time, but make we nurture what we have. And make we repurpose what we have.
Yes.
And represent it by representing what we have in an honorable way. And make we help redeem ourselves, because as a country we could have done better with Leonard Howell Vision and with Pinnacle. But all right, it's never too late for a show rain. And so me would really like history for record me as I want me make even like a baby step, like a baby effort, because and I like, look here. And I'm only why this institute started, you know? The institute started now 0 cent. Even though people have them different presumption and assumption, and just belief and confidence and knowings we have, and the Almighty God, we are aware of that, you know, and the Almighty bestow a mantle and a responsibility, which we call an honorable mantle and responsibility towards this thing. So if people did their think of money, they make a sad mistake. If I did money, we wouldn't make the first step. So we see say this thing is bigger than men and people. Is a divine responsibility bestowed on I and I. And so that's why we know say it's not by accident. Because some of my people was a Spanish told you, so see a madman where I do. But can anything good come out of Nazareth? Can anything good come out of Trenchtown? Can anything good come out of Rastafari? Of course. Maybe the very best. So we did it to make them be a liar and for prove ourselves worthy of the honor and the duty and the responsibility. We just bestow I and I. We don't know why Jah do that. But Jah must know why him do that. And we want to prove ourselves worthy of that honor and that duty and that responsibility. And we not have to do no holy and have to be no rocket science.
Okay.
Yes.
One to order. Little by little, one step at a time. We not look crowded up. We have looking at yourself and the community and the world, and make people have to rub their eye, take off all their glasses and put it back on, wash out all their mouth. You understand what I say?
Yes, I.
Yes, I truly understand, brother. And you know,
yeah, them understand what I say?
Yes, I.
Yes, and it should be a collective effort too, because no one person, you know, should be left, you know, with
no, sister, it is a collective effort. If I did I and I alone, it wouldn't start. As you rightly say, it's a collective effort. We have to say, I hope me not give the impression otherwise. Because me I say the thing start without 1 cent. Me not own the place, you know.
Yeah.
The people them me want when me see the Bible we talk and everything have to talk to the public still, you know. But to me I say
that's true. That's true.
A man see the work I and I do and see the effort I and I make and say, yes, so tell me one thing where you don't love to do what you don't get to do yet. Me could have given the man 1.3 billion things, you know. And the spirit said to me, say, tell him, it depends on my mind, you know, there's a thing when I left my heavens, you know. I said, I would love to set up the Ras Tafari Institute. The man said, if you come check it next week, Tuesday. And here we are talking about the Ras Tafari Institute and having several events and having several people from all over the place come and having this thing for one of the most important one in the Livity Ras Tafari certainly here in Jamaica. So it not get better than that hardly.
I was pleasantly surprised.
It don't get much better than that, you know.
Brother, I was pleasantly surprised when I heard about the Rasta Institute, because last year when I was there,
and look here now. We had the man daughter in front of where the man named Katherine, because we're going to catch them in a St. Catherine. You think a normal utterance that? Is this that you're supposed to know an normal thought?
He has a delay, Sister Catherine. So
we'll catch them in a St. Catherine. They think they can escape. They can't escape.
Exactly.
And if they run, they can't hide.
Yes, all on the Yasus.
So even this again now too. They are seeing the trinity between the two lioness, the lioness. You think that normally so?
No.
All things.
Make it work.
All
trust
things. Me. My father has a word that he used to
and
say.
we give thanks for me.
All things are in divine order. All things are in divine order, brother. And that was one of the words that my father used to say to me every time I would kind of get upset and things start happening. And he would just say, change your thoughts. You know, you change your thoughts and you just realize that all things are in divine order, you know, because your thoughts control your mind and action, and your thoughts, you know, has to do with your action. So if you change your thoughts, you know, you can put your whole mindset in a positive energy, and things can just start happening, and just, you know, you'll be surprised how the energy, you know, the universe has a way to make things happen. And we don't understand everything, but, you know, the reality is that we are part of the universe and the universe is part of us. And we shouldn't really be surprised when good things start happening to us because of our minds and our thoughts. And I'm really, truly happy to be on the platform today, you know, to be here to represent my family on this forum, and in honoring my father and the paradigm that he started in Jamaica, which is the Rastafarian movement, and to see how his name is honored globally. Right now, as we speak, there are people in New York that are having a celebration for my dad. There are people in Africa that are having a celebration for my dad, all throughout Africa, in Asia, and also in India, and even in other Caribbean, South America, honoring my father. And it's just amazing. I mean, even though this man was in the flesh form, I think that he was sent by some kind of force or energy, that he was appointed and anointed to give his life for the liberation of our people. And I'm truly honored and blessed to know that I have his bloodline in me, and also to know that his ancestors were from West Africa in Ghana. You know, my dad family came from the Ashanti tribe out of Ghana. My great-grandfather, I used to go up to the place where my father was born, up in Redland in Clarendon, and the tomb of my grandfather is still there. And my great-grandfather, the Africans that came out of that royal warrior bloodline, they say they had to leave the warrior Africans in the Caribbean, especially in Jamaica, because they were warlike. You know, they were unruly slaves, and they were ready to fight and give their lives. I remember Dad was telling me when I was a child that there was some Igbo people that they took to one of the states, I think is the state of Georgia, and they decided to jump off the ship and kill themselves because they feel that they'd rather death before dishonor. And I used to hear him use that term all the time about dignity and honor and death before dishonor. So, you know, we African we are a very special group of people. And that's even the reason why we need to honor our ancestors. So, you know, some of us are doing the work, not because we want to, but because we were appointed to do the work. And, you know, I've been running away from even doing the work for years when I was living in New York, where, you know, my mom sent me to school there. And, you know, most of these Jamaican, you know, some of these elite family, they want their children to go to foreign countries to get education, which now I think is just nonsense, because there are a lot of great university in Africa and elsewhere, even in the Caribbean. So, you know, when you see elite family try to send their children out of the country to go to foreign countries to get an education, I mean, these Ivy League universities never taught you about your history. All they teaches you is about the Caucasian and the Caucasian legacy, when they never tell us that the Caucasian actually stole the African legacy. I was in Greece some years ago, and I had my girlfriend and I got into a very serious conversation about the Greek and the medicine. And I had to remind her about Plato and Socrates. Who educated them? Their education came out of Africa because they learned from the Africans. So they have stolen our legacy, which all of this miseducation, they never teach us about this, especially in Ivy League universities. They never will. They don't want to. So sometimes the grass is not always greener. You know, we may have to, we may have to mow the lawn in our backyard so our grass can look as beautiful and green like anywhere else, so we don't have to leave it to go to foreign country and to learn about the blonde hair, blue-eyed Jesus. So I give thanks.
Yes, yes. One of the things I want the eye to emphasize tonight is who your dad was as a businessman, because a lot of people hear Leonard Howell and think it was just a little man and try a thing, and don't know that your father, you know, had real estate in Harlem during the Renaissance, who was doing big business in America before he came, which is why he was able to build a community, because he had knowledge of business. And you yourself have become a business person in your own right in that legacy. And Haile Selassie, as Rastafari, was a businessman as well, who imported the printing press to Ethiopia. Empress Menen was a business person. And I think that one of the things that we've lost as Rastafari is that business acumen. You know, we have glorified the man in the hills, which we should. You know what I mean? The farmer man, we should. But we cannot neglect the business side of Rastafari, which is a foundational aspect. When we look at Rastafari, the man, and we look at Marcus Garvey, we look at your father, Leonard Howell, these were highest businessmen of the highest order in terms of them setting up business. Please just tell the global family who didn't see your first legendary and classic interview on this platform about your father's business history and what he was doing in New York and how that business helped him to establish, because I want the young people to know that they need to sharpen their mind and to establish businesses so we can be financially independent. Leonard Howell had an assistant up until the day that he left this earth. You know what I mean? He had an executive secretary up until the day he left this earth. That's not a man who does not know business. This is a man who well grounded in business. So please, if you could share with us the business history of Leonard Howell. Hold on, I think we have a little technical glitch. We've been fighting technology all night. I didn't even get to do my intro today because the technology has been glitching. I think there are storms all around creation right now. War, rumors of war, all kind of thing, but Lion Voice, Chadan, we're not gonna stop. Let's give Sister Katherine a moment to get her thing together. We'll bring her forward when it comes forward. But I want to emphasize that part because a lot of time we think Leonard Howell is just a little man around the place. And that was one of the things I learned in speaking with Sister Kathy Howell the first time, was how amazing her father was as it relates to business. You know what I mean? How amazing it was, our father, as it relates to the business side. Hold on 1 second. We're working out some technical difficulties. But if you're watching live, let us know in the comment section where you're watching from. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share this with your friends and your family. Big up Akashic, iRoots Records. Big up DJ Ras Iman out of Atlanta. All of with family them. Let us know where you're watching from. Drop an emoji. Drop some love. This is a classic episode. Yasus Afari, Sister Leonard Kathy Howell. You're only going to get this combination on the Lion Voice Network. And we're just getting started. We're just heating up, family. We are just getting in the groove of things here on the Lion Voice Network. We have a whole heap of content coming your way. Let us know in the comment section if you love what you're seeing so far and you want to see more. We just dropped the second clip from our Dawe Congo interview, one of the champion in Rastafari roots reggae music. We are bringing that authentic, unfiltered Rastafari content to the world. And this Saturday, we are interviewing with Garrett Prince out of South Africa, Rastafari attorney, who was lost his license to practice because of his use of the Healing of the Nation ganja. Took the country to court and has a case before the court right now that will be revolutionary for Rastafari in South Africa. We are going to be reasoning with the brethren. Natty Reid out of the UK. Big up all of the UK family them. All of the UK family. They them are special to I because right now is way up in the hours in the morning. And we always have a UK presence on the platform. UK is always in our top 10 territories. So big up all of the UK family. I want more of our UK family to join us in the Lion Pride on Patreon. We have our brethren Van Rick, who is a long-time supporter from the UK, but he's lonely. We need more UK family. We know UK is one of the strongholds for Rastafari. Come in, you know what I mean? I think it's about £8 to join a month for Lion Pride on Patreon because the pound is stronger than the dollar. So the $10 subscription, I think it come out to about £8 or something like that. So UK family, join us in the Patreon. We are going to be giving out grants, and we want UK nominations, people from the UK to also be nominated. Big up VI family checking in, Sister Danisha. Big up yourself. Big up Ras Maisha, my long-time brethren. Big up Naya Bingi family them. Listen, we are here doing the works of the Most High, waiting. I hope Sister Katherine will come forward so that we can talk about the business side of Leonard Howell. One of the things that she informed us in the first interview was that Leonard Howell had real estate in New York, in Harlem, during the Renaissance. He had several properties that he owned. He owned a tea house, you know what I mean? Word on the street is that he was moving little ganja up there in a Old York too. In them time, the man used to come to his tea house and hold a meditation. So ancient days, you know, he continued that ganja trade in Jamaica. So he was a pioneer, you know what I mean? And when he came to Jamaica, he came with financial means, 2,000 plus acres of land purchased to build a Rastafari African village. This is not a simple man, and I want us to get this out of our mind. Say, Leonard Howell is just a man with us, come out of nowhere. No, this was a well-tuned businessman who could have just been living lavish, but as his daughter said, gave up his life for the people and lost everything. He was in a mental asylum at one point. They put him in a mental asylum. And a lot of us don't know that he lived up into the 80s. He died in the early 80s. So he lived to see Rastafari blossom and spread. He lived to see Bob Marley become a global phenomenon. I think he might have passed right before Bob Marley passed. So these are things that a lot of us don't know, that they try to murder Leonard Howell. We'll talk about that, you know what I mean? Same things, you know what I mean? We still, Yasus Afari just sent I a message. He's trying to rejoin as well. Sister Katherine is trying to rejoin as well. I'm telling you, tonight the powers were so powerful. You know what I mean? The powers that be never want us broadcast it look like. I couldn't even play my intro, you know what I mean? For the episode, and that never happened to me since we've been doing this almost 5 years now. I've never had an episode where we couldn't play the intro. So just to show you what's going on here, it thing terrible. But we are moving forward. Akashic said Leonard Howell was light years ahead of his time. I would have to agree with that, you know what I mean? And I think we've lost some of that essence, you know, in terms of the business aspect of Rastafari. We have a lot of ones who have demonized, Rastafari business, you know what I mean? And we cannot, you know, business is how we are going to liberate ourselves, because we have to have an economic base. We have to buy and sell among ourselves. You know, some people make buy and sell look like it's a sin. It's not a sin for trade. You know, when His Majesty was crowned, he said, traders trade. I shall govern you by the ordinances that's been passed down. Eli? Isis? Can I hear I? Isis? Isis? Can I hear I now? Can I hear I? Isis? Can I hear I?
Yeah, they are still what?
All right, talk, and let make we hear if we can hear what they are saying.
Me that try send there a message.
What's the weather like there where you are? This is the event coming up. "128 Earth Day celebration. Beer things are going. We have a lecture presentation, music, drumming, poetry with Yasus Afari, Dr. Lewis Moiston, Dr. Michael Barnett, Ras Miguel Larn, Sister Katherine Howell, Empress K, Mikey General, Historyman, Hungo Pungo, Ansel Palmer, Carbon the Hardwood. And we're going to have Carbon on the show shortly too. Bamboo Kellum, Ras, Paldaltian, Gideon, I think that's Ilawi, and Valid, Conscious Musical Selections, Ayard Radio, that is Breadlocks, the article, Dreadlocks, I Good Brethren, as well is the Rastafari, Celebration, Perfect Love, and Strength, you know what I mean? If you're watching live, let us know where you're watching from. This is a participatory event. This is a participatory platform. Let us know where you're watching from, so we can celebrate the eye, and we can also demonstrate that this is a global platform. Okay, here come Yasus again. We're going to try to bring him in. Also, Sunday, the 28th, we're going to be having our town hall meeting where we're going to select the first recipient of our grant program. If you want to participate, you want to nominate someone, you need to join the Patreon and you need to be present at the town hall meeting to vote. Greetings. We're working our best to try to get through this Wi-Fi situation. Can you hear I? Can you hear I? Isis. We're trying our best. Hold on. We're trying our best. Greetings. Yasos. All right. Let's greetings. Isis. All right. It seemed like it's Wi-Fi the guy. Every now and then this happens, but you don't know, family. We're working through it. This is something that we have to talk about, you know what I mean? The great Leonard Percival Howell, one of our legends in the Rastafari family. And again, I keep emphasize, he had an economic system. We have made money a bad word in the Rastafari movements, and we cannot do that. We see now, I'm gonna share some images that were sent to me from Shashamani today. I want to share some images to show the item how crucial it is for I and I to get our economic strength up, because without that economic strength, people just treat I and I any kind of way. You know what I mean? They see us as prey without the economics. Blessing. Let us know where you're watching from. If you're watching live, we have Yasus Afari trying to tune in with I and I. Let us know where you're watching from. I'm trying to bring up some fresh images from Shashamani to give some updates while we wait. I'm trying to get Ras Kabinda on the program to talk about what's happening in Shashamani. For those who are not aware, they have destroyed the Nyabingi Tabernacles, part of it, to build a road, the same program that was happening in Addis with the beautification is happening in Shashamani. So this is an image from Shashamani. This is the road. All of this was the Nyabingi house land, and you see now the road goes right. They chop off piece of the tabernacle. Hold on, Sister Catherine is forward. Greetings, Sister Cathy.
Yes, greetings again. I'm sorry with my phone. I think the adversary is trying to,
Yes,
do
it's too
something. I don't know
powerful.
what is going on.
It's too
Yeah,
powerful.
but it's
It's too
what
powerful.
it's what it is. But anyway, we just wanted to get back to where my dad taught not just me, but a lot of people about
Yes,
self-sufficiency and how
please
to be
tell us.
able to. Yeah, my dad actually when he left Jamaica, he went to a couple countries, and one of the places that he spent a lot of time working in was in New York. And back there in the 20s, my father always believed in self-employment, that even with me I was only 16 when my dad mentioned to me that there's no greater joy is when you can able to put food in someone's mouth. And one of the greatest thing to do is try to teach someone to fish instead of giving them a fish every day. He mentioned to me about his life story in New York, that he was a businessman and he also ran a tea room in Harlem, and everybody knew him in Harlem. As a matter of fact, there was one sister from the UNIA that lived up in Avondale. She told me that her mother used to work for my father in the Sister Samad, I think that was her name was, that her mother worked for my dad in New York when he had the tea room in Harlem. And my father believed to have a multiple variety of business, because when you have several sources of income coming in is better, because just relying on one source of income, if one business failed, then that's the end of it. So if you have a multiple source of income, it really helps to build you financially. And so he was the guy who actually did that. So when he left New York a very wealthy guy, because not only was also he had stores and variety shops and tea room, but he was also in real estate, which my brother Cordy followed in his footsteps. And now he's very financially wealthy in Orlando. So my father was also believed in renovating houses, as my uncle Cardiff would say. You show my father a building and he'd go inside there with men and refurbish it, and of course they would sell it and make a profit. So my dad was a businessman. I mean, a real businessman, a man that believed in economic growth and economic development. So when he actually went back to Jamaica and was preaching Rastafari and went to Pinnacle, there was a group of people that came to Pinnacle, and one of the motto was that when you're in Pinnacle, or if you're going to live on the land, which everybody had land for free because he was a philanthropist, he gave those people parcels of land so they could build their homes. And the criteria was that, they had to be doing something. They had to be self-sufficient. self-empowered, self-sufficiency, and be economic stable. So they established small businesses in arts and craft. They had established business in health and wellness, bakery. That he had a nice bakery that was supplying a lot of bread to the prison, to the hospital, and to the poorhouse. They had like clothing shops and shoemaker shops and restaurant, etc. And you will believe this is true, because right now, if you go to Jamaica, you'll see a lot of Rasta brethren that are still having their little tuck shop. You know, they have their little restaurant going and they're making their food. They're selling item food, and you'll find there's some brothers too that are into health and wellness and doing the needful. So my dad was a man that really believed truly that, you know, you have to create, engage in a variety, in a variety of activity, you know. And even in music right now, you see there's a lot of brothers that are into music and arts and craft right now in Jamaica. So Rasta taught Jamaica about health and wellness. You know, Rasta taught Jamaica about art and craft, using the environmental friendly craft to make so many products for the homes and elsewhere. And Jamaica helped build the Rastafari and helped build the Jamaica economy, especially with the tourists. Because one of the greatest thing was that the Rastafarian brothers put their music out there globally, and people were coming from all over the world to enjoy reggae music in Jamaica. So we really give thanks for the Rasta people, because Jamaica, they should be grateful there, you know, for. And I spoke to the Minister of Tourism the other day, who agreed, and also the Minister of Culture, because they realized what the Rasta people in Jamaica, what they have done for the country. And the Rasta people were also the people that helped to bring about independence in Jamaica. So, you know, the Rasta movement is a dynamic movement. You know, it's a mover and shaker movement. And we will continue to grow and do the needful and to help our people to unite.
Give thanks. And I hope that this is inspiring to everyone to know that we can do it, and we have done it already. You know, through your father.
Yeah, absolutely. Pinnacle was a very wealthy community, you know. I mean, not only were they growing the herbs, but they were also people who were doing things. As a matter of fact, their agriculture was the one that feeding the public and private sector in St. Catherine. You know, the brothers who were farmers, they would take their product down to the market and to sell. And none of them would take anything back, because there were so many food on the land that those product that they didn't sell, they would even just give them away to the poorhouse instead of taking back to the estate. So the Rasta people had established this empathy and kindness in the Jamaica society for centuries, for years, since the beginning.
It's such a joy. You know, I just want to share one comment with you from one of our Lion Pride. He said, "Wow, this is amazing." So this is the impact that you're having, and this is a Bobo Shanti brethren who has a lot of knowledge, who's on our episodes. But what you're saying, a lot of us never hear these things, you know. A lot of us don't know these things about Leonard Howell. and the foundation. And remember that he was attacked. Pinnacle was destroyed in a raid. So if Pinnacle wasn't destroyed, Rastafari would not have gone through that poverty stage that has defined us since then. Because after Pinnacle is when everyone scattered. That's when Bakawal, all of these things rose up, was because Pinnacle was destroyed. Because remember, she said that he was giving people parcels of land. He had 2,000 plus acres. And once you were productive, you would get land and become part of the village. So you can imagine Pinnacle would have been a city.
But that's why they raided it, because the government say Howell is building a state within a state. And the colonial government said that cannot happen.
I'm going to show you an image here, Sister Kathy, that I constructed using the AI. Well, this is one. You show the war in the background, but that's not the one I wanted. Hold on, I'm gonna show you what Pinnacle would have become had they not raided. Let me see if I can find it here. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, let me see. This is, you see, this kind of thing. Let me make it big here. And I've been showing this image because I want us as Rastafari to see. You see, there's a farmer's market, there's a wholesale store, there's a Ital cafe and bakery, there's a gift shop. All of them have their solar panels on the top. You have the farm in the background. You have the water catchment system. This is what Babylon fear more than nuclear bombs. They fear us creating a self-sufficient community and a peaceful society. And this is the mission that we have. And this is the vision Leonard Howell had. This is what Pinnacle would have become had it not been stunted. You think that Pinnacle wouldn't be solar panel? You think that Pinnacle wouldn't have been off the grid by now and fully integrated into natural practices and all of these things that Rastafari is known for? No. On that 2,000 plus acres, it would have transformed the whole island. But it was stopped. I want the eye to also share with the people in terms of your father's, the things that he shared with the eye about his vision for Rastafari people.
My father's vision was all about unification and actually repatriation. And under the umbrella of the UW, is it Ethiopian Salvation Society, was that we were Africans and we needed to return to Africa. But before doing so, we had to develop a system within the Rasta village where everyone were equipped financially and had the skill that was required that they would take with them to go back to Africa to teach and to learn about the culture and the tradition and the language. So that basically was the vision, and more of the unification of our people, united Africa. Pinnacle was a place where.
Keep going. Is that the Wi-Fi? Yes, it is. Once we start, Wi-Fi gets shaky. But I want us to look at these images, because one thing for sure, I don't want us to lose track. I don't want us to get off track of what our mission is as Rastafari. So on this platform, you know, we talk about the building of heaven on earth. But that can be very lofty, you know. So we have to talk about, you know, what does that look like from a practical kind of perspective. So these images here are to bring it into focus, so that we have a vision of what we are working toward building. You know, what do these sustainable communities look like? You know, this is what the mission is right now, is the creation of these type of communities, integrated model. So we need to have our farm. Yes, Sister Kathy, continue.
Yeah, I think the adversary is trying to get us today. So I don't know why my phone is doing this, but it's doing what it's doing. So it's one thing I learned as a young child in Pinnacle, and that was part of my father vision, was empathy and Ubuntu, because we had talked, I mean, here about this treating each other, you know, as brothers and sisters. And I learned this as a child, that my dad used to have a motto, says, we Rasta are one, all for one, and one for all, and all for one. And having that one love, that one love ideology that was established in Jamaica. I'm sure there's a lot of foreigners that used to come to Jamaica to stay in Jamaica, and they would be around a Rasta man or woman, and the love that they feel and share, they had never feel that love and shared anywhere. And the Rasta man was not really looking for their money, because their money was not important to them, because these Rasta people up there in Pinnacle had money to give. You know, they weren't really there to receive, because they had their own financial resources, and, you know, they had their own bank, mint bank. My father used to call it a mint bank. You know, another powerful thing that my dad had was he had a fund in the bank that was set up for people that they would pay a dues into this fund. It was more of a burial fund for somebody that would die in Pinnacle. They didn't have to worry, because the money would come out of that fund to bury that person. Or if someone was getting married and didn't have the money to, you know, the funds were also coming out of that. So that's something that I thought that was so powerful that my dad had set up. And having
Collective
people,
security.
yeah, and also had people working together, more like a co-op, you know, a farming structure that set up like a co-op. For example, when I was a little girl growing up there on the estate, let's say there's a gentleman called Brown, and there's one called White, and there's one called something else. Each week, that one person, when he is about is harvesting or planting, let's say he's planting peas, a group of men who were not busy at the time, maybe 12, 13, 20, would also give that man a helping hand in planting on his lot, on his farm. peas. So he was not alone just trying to put peas in the ground. He had help from his brothers and sisters. And you find that there was more women too, because you find that the women were actually better at agriculture than men, because they themselves knew about what time of the year to plant what and when. And even with the herbs, they knew when to plant it, because they studied the cosmology and know about the ground and the soil and so forth and so on. So maybe a Wednesday, Mr. Brown would have a group of guys coming in to help him. On Friday, another group of guys would help Mr. White. On Saturday, another group of guys and Mr. Fisher. And that unity that just blows me away as a child when I was growing up to see all of that. And then, not seeing people that are united, or doing those things for each other anymore. It really pains me. And I think my dad would say, you are your brother's keeper, because if something happens to a Rasta brother in Pinnacle, it happens to every brother there in Pinnacle. So it's that unity, it's that love, one love, as they would call it, one love, and they would greet you that way too. When a Rastaman passes you along the way, would says, Irie, one love, Ja, one love, that sort of thing. And it bears the name even up until today. And it's a different generation now that, they are more in a different, they have a different philosophy that, I don't know if it's society, as a race that brotherly love, that special feeling that you should have for your brother or your sister, and to be able to help them along the way, giving them a helping hand, is no longer there. You find more takers than there are givers. And even in my golden years right now, I see this, and it just saddens me. It really does.
Speaking of that, reflecting, we're celebrating 128 years of the Earth Strong of your father, the Honorable Leonard Percival Howell. What are your reflections as you come into this 128th year, and what would you like to see for the Rastafari movement that your father established?
I would like to see Rasta moving in a more collective manner. I would like to see Rasta more engaging in agriculture, especially in today's society, because I truly believe that there's a time that is coming where there's going to be a food shortage.
Yes.
And I know if we don't start putting our heads together and our thoughts together and blending, our knowledge, because we have to remember that African culture is agriculture, and we must start moving in a way to develop and to acquire more land. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
To acquire, I don't care where you are. You could be in Africa, you could be in Australia, you could be in India, you could be in Asia, but to acquire more land, to start doing agriculture. And one of the way I think that could work is on a cooperative, more like a cooperative system. So it's one for all and all for one. Everybody sharing to the action, everybody gets a piece of the action. It's not you or me, but it's a collective effort. And I know that everyone has a different idea about things, but we can move mountain and we can get stronger economically and make, you know, the society a better place to live in.
I agree 1,000%. Again, I just want to share this image. You see in the background is war. I created this image today when I heard that the US was attacking Iran and Iran was responding. And this resumption of the war in the Middle East, in the Gulf, ensures that the world is going to go into a global depression. Because the oil shock, 20% of the oil is off the market. The Houthi, which are the Yemenis, they have closed the Red Sea port now. So that's, I think, 25% of the world's oil is off the market right now, meaning that the fertilizer, the helium, the natural gas, all of them things they shut down, which is going to lead to a global contraction of the global economy. So I'm so glad you said that you believe there's a food shortage, because sometimes I'm here talking, Sister Katherine, and I don't want people to think I'm just a doomsday Ras trying to scare them. But I'm really trying to warn them about what is coming. And this image, as you can see, the war in the background, but you see us as Rastafari in the foreground. What are they doing? They're planting food. They are going to their own ital shop. They have their own power supply, because you can't depend on the government power supply, because when the shortage comes, they're going to cut all of that. And only the wealthy people are going to be getting the power. The little power that's there is going to be diverted to wealthy people. The poor people, the poor communities are not going to get any of that power. So we have to return to Leonard Howell's self-reliance. So I'm so glad that we have you here. And I made this image. You know, we use the AI to create this image, but this is where the positive, because sometimes if people can't see it, it's hard for them to understand what you're telling them, you know? So I created this image to show the people around the world that while the war is happening, we have to stay focused, because this war is not our war. You know, His Majesty told us that war is no longer a valid means for settling disputes. It's futile. So while they plan their war, we have to plan our peace. We have to prepare for the peace. We have to build our peace. And we only do that by going to the earth, by planting food, by being self-sufficient. And again, when we do this, I want us to be clear that this is nothing new. This is returning to the root of the movement. This is returning to Pinnacle. Leonard Howell was a learned man. He was a businessman who could have established any form of business, but he came to Jamaica. He established an agricultural community. You heard Sister Katherine say that they were growing food and they would take it down into the flatlands to sell to the people, and they would have so much food that they would give to the poor and the needy, and they would not return any food. And also I heard that the food that was grown at Pinnacle was special, like people would line up to get that food. Talk about the quality of the food, because this is not no pian food neither. Talk to them about the quality.
I think it's actually the soil.
Yes.
You know, because the African knew when to plant. And as a child, I used to see my grandfather be looking at the map and the certain calendar year that they know when the rainy season is gonna come, and what month, you know, this food is gonna grow when, and so forth. And they would sit down in groups and plan, you know, what food would be most would be most favorable to plant, you know, in certain months. And I tell you, it's just totally amazing, because the soil, because even with the herbs, the soil was really has to do with the quality of the food. And they weren't using any chemicals, because everything was natural. Yes. You know, that they were using. I used to see they use like, let's say you have a mango and you have the skin of the mango, banana, you have they would use those things and turn it all in the ground and put it into
Compost.
there you go. There you go. There you go.
Yes.
Natural. Everything was natural. And see, that's the thing. We don't even know about these things anymore. It's just crazy. Why can't we learn from our ancestors and do what ancestors have been doing over the century? I mean, what's going on? All of these knowledge is just wiped out. And this is and there's certain plants that you could put around for taking insects away. And even I remember like even mosquitoes when I was growing up, and my grandmother, she says lavender. We used to plant the lavender tree close by so they would chase the mosquitoes away. It was just crazy. They had it down pat. They knew exactly what to do, brother. And they were the one that were living 110, 120, 105, 104, 102, 99, 98. And look at us now. And they didn't have to run to doctors because they know all the plants that were there for them to go and to use. I remember as a child, my grandmother used to have this bush she called coal bush. They call it coal bush. I don't remember the name of the bush anymore anyway. But they would go into the forest. I wouldn't call it forest because Pinnacle is big, yes, and it had a lot of, bushy areas. But they know exactly what to pick, what to get to heal your body. And it saddens me to see we don't teach our children these important, vital information anymore. It's sad.
It's sad. We have a question here. The brethren is asking, he said there's a black and white photo from the 20s of what is said to be Garvey walking with the noble Drew Ali and other claims of their relationship. Is she aware of any connection of Howell with the noble Drew Ali? Did your father know the noble Drew Ali? Or do you know of that?
I don't know, but I know he had a relationship with this brother from Benin. He's with Prince from Togo. I think the prince was from Togo.
Okay.
He was a Pan-African man too, and Dad had a relationship with him. They used to send messages back and forth, and also a lot of these Pan-African first leaders were also had a relationship with my dad because my dad was also a member of the Pan-African movement. Yeah.
Yes, and we have to remember that Leonard Howell's tea shop in Harlem was one of the meeting places for the movement in Harlem. So Noble Drew Ali most likely passed through the tea shop in those days because that was one of the
they have, and then they had the basement, where the guys could go downstairs and discuss meetings and stuff like that.
Yes.
Sure.
So it's very likely that the noble Drew Ali, most of the people who were active in Harlem in those days were meeting in the basement of Leonard Howell's tea shop.
Absolutely.
For the sensitive meetings, the planning for the UNIA, for things that were happening. He was at the pulse because remember, he's a businessman. He's a major businessman, a major financial contributor to what was going on at that time. So he was a mover and a shaker. And this is why we have to change our concept of who Leonard Howell was. He's not a simple man, This was a great leader, great Pan-African figure, And it just so happened that the movement that he started, as you said, there were others who were preaching Rastafari, but but it was from his root that the movement blossomed and the fertile ground. Pinnacle was the fertile ground that created the global movement, because I always try to give honor to the Rastafarites in Chicago from 1919, but that movement did not spread. It did, it died out. We don't hear about them in the history books. The only history that we have, as a matter of fact, is your father in the Gleaner acknowledging that he met the Rastafarites when he was in Harlem. There's a quote that he said that he met them, and then when he came to Jamaica, he began to preach. So we know that that's one of the only ways that, but in America, the movement died out. It was from Leonard Howell's root that the movement went global. And I think that's uncontestable, because the other preachers were not men of means. They were preaching, yes,
exactly. You had to have some financial resources to get any movement going, and you and I know that.
Yes. And this is what I'm trying to emphasize, Sister Katherine, because we have lost that part of the movement in terms of the financial acumen. We have demonized business in Rastafari, and it's been to our detriment. We have demonized having wealth and these things, when His Majesty was a wealthy man, Leonard Howell was a wealthy man, Marcus Garvey was a man of means. You know what I mean? He couldn't have the Black Star Liner if he didn't have means. He couldn't have the UNIA and the Negro World paper and all of these things if he wasn't a man of means. So we have to return this. This doesn't mean greed. I'm not advocating for greediness or capitalism where you just get money and you become a billionaire and everybody working for you don't have health care. I'm not saying that. What we're talking about is doing good business, making money and investing that money forward into the movement to create prosperity. And that's what Leonard Howell was doing, a social enterprise. Dr. Kadamawi Knife talks about it. The social enterprise is when you do the business and then you reinvest the profits of the business into your people, into the movement. And that was Leonard Howell. That was His Majesty. That was the Honorable Marcus. That's the model. So I want to, we're coming to the end now. Just give us some final words. Let me bring up this flyer again. Hold on one moment. Let me just bring up this flyer again. This is a big event taking place in Jamaica. 128 Earth Day celebration, Sunday, June 14, 2026, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Rastafari Institute at Casa de la Vega in St. Catherine. It's 2 miles from Pinnacle on the same road that you would take to get to Pinnacle. Is just 2 miles down from Pinnacle. If you keep moving up that same road, you get to Pinnacle. It's featuring lectures, presentations, music, drumming, poetry with Yasus Afari. I give thanks for Yasus for coming forward. Dr. Louis Moiston, Dr. Michael Barnett, Ras Miguel Lorne, Sister Kathy Howell, who is here with us, Empress K, Mikey General, History Man, Hungo Pungo, Ansel Palmer, Carbon the Hard One, Bamboo Callum, Ras Paladaltan, or Paladaltian, Armageddon, and Valid. Conscious musical selections by iYard Radio. Tuesday, June 16th. Make sure you're there. Entry is free. This is a free event. One of the sponsors, the Leonard P. Howell Foundation, part of the Rastafari Mansion and Organization, the RMO. It's going to be a mighty celebration. You don't want to miss this celebration. It's going to be one for the history books. So give us your final words to the global family, Sister Kathy.
Yes, I just want to say my dad's celebration is not only going to be in Jamaica. I am positive that there are other celebrations that's going to be happening in New York. And there's also a celebration that's going to be happening in Saltmarsh, in
Yes.
in St. James in
Yes.
Jamaica. And as
Is that House
usual,
of Siba? Is that House of Siba?
yeah, House of Siba,
Yes.
correct. And
Big up
that I
Rasta
think is going
Bali.
to be on the 15th. That's
Yes.
going to be on the 15th. In Albany, yes, there in New York, there also going to be a celebration going on. I know that the global Rastafarians are also going to celebrate my dad's Earth Strong.
Yes.
I'm sure in South Africa, where there's so many Rastas are in South Africa, in Malawi and Ghana and elsewhere. And I just want to say, let's remember that we are African and we stand on the shoulder of our ancestors. We are brothers and sisters in the faith. And we must exercise empathy, especially to the vulnerable children and family, because each one teach one, and we all need each other. I am hoping for the day of the unification of Africa. And I know that this will happen sooner or later. And also having Rasta start moving toward a collectively to build economic development, growth for our people, and to do the needful. Give thanks, brother and sisters. Jah bless. Rastafari.
God bless.
Rastafari lives
I
and
live
reigns
the
forever and ever, always and always. Give thanks.
Give thanks, Sister Kathy. It's always an honor to host the Eye. You bring so much majesty to our platform, so much grace, so much wisdom. You speak with authority about things that you know. You are a businesswoman of your own right. You have distinguished yourself as a philanthropist. You have brought joy to so many children around the world with your work. You have traveled to Africa. You have done so much positive works that we don't have time to talk about all of them tonight. But you came here to talk about your father, to keep his legacy alive. And I know that he's proud of you from the ancestral realm, because he's not here to say for himself, but his youngest daughter, his wash belly, is here, talking about him, keeping his legacy living. We can feel when you give your testimony, we can feel you paint the picture so clearly. You know what I mean? You have taught Iman so much about Leonard Howell that I didn't know. And it made me look at the whole movement different after speaking to the Eye and realizing the magnitude of this businessman who committed his life, as you say, for the upliftment of his people, because he could have been a millionaire by himself and just, made his family wealthy. And we never heard of Leonard Howell. He's just one of those business people behind the scenes, but instead he gave it all up. One of my elders here, Ras Iris, who is no longer with us. I think you met him when you came to DC. Ras Iris, he said that he used to visit your father when he was at Bellevue. They put him in a mental asylum to try to thing, and he said they tried to break him, and this elder said he used to go and they would talk through the fence, and he said that your father would give lectures, and Brethren would be there while he's in Bellevue. He's there teaching. And spreading the knowledge to the people after they tried to break his mental. And a lot of people don't know your father lived into the 80s, even myself didn't know that. And then a lot of people also didn't know that they tried to kill him, and he ultimately died of those wounds.
He actually died of a heart attack in a hotel in Kingston, in New Kingston, because they tried to kill him. And so he had to leave his house with his secretary and take refuge in New Kingston Hotel in Jamaica. And he was there for a couple of months because we were concerned about him staying alone, in his house. And while he was in the hotel, several months later, he had a heart attack and died. But, all their effort to try to kill my dad, they just couldn't reach him because, the universe had a way to protect him. And it was just totally, spiritual. I always said it's spiritual because, the things that went on with my dad, it's just, I can't put it in words because no human being could go through that and survive. And yet he was so resilient. Yeah. Yeah.
And,
it's crazy because when they took my dad to the jail, I remember my dad was saying to them they want him to stop preaching Rastafari in Jamaica and Black history. And my father says, no, he's not going to. And they thought that this man must be a madman. How could he look at the judge, this man, and tell him that you're not going to? Because the thing that would just nudge out of my dad's mouth, he was like, really? And he was so brave and just did not, and bold, and he was not afraid. And so they really look at him as if he was crazy. And even my dad told me one of the time when they took him to Bellevue and they just couldn't know what to do with him. They were trying to give him some shock treatment or something. And he just mentally got out of his body, he says, and just let them do what they wanted to do to his body. And after he just actually came back into his body because they were trying to take his body, but they couldn't take his spirit and they couldn't take his soul because he would not allow them to do that. He said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was cast into the fire, but they walked out of there without getting burned. And Howell went into the fire and walked out without not getting burned.
What a story, what a testimony. People, we are so blessed to have the eye here with us. I hope that the Lion Pride know. I hope that you press the like button, that you share this episode. I hope that if you're in Jamaica, you make it up to Casa de la Vega for this groundbreaking event that's taking place. Make sure you are there in the physical if you are in Jamaica to support this great event. Yeah. Make sure you support the Leonard Howell Foundation and the work that they're doing as well. Is there a website or any way that people can support the Leonard Howell Foundation?
Yeah, we have a website, lphfoundation.org. Yeah. So they can really go on the site. We're trying to update the website right now, and to refurbish it and try to restructure it. So, but I'm sure people can actually go on the website and see. But everything is in divine order, my brother. All is well. All things are moving forward in divine order.
Yes. And again, we just want to thank you for being a stalwart. I have a few announcements before we seal up. We have the ARC STEAM Summer Camp, Virtual Summer Camp, Association of Rastafari Creatives Summer Camp taking place. It's going to be, registration has started, so you can go ahead and go to rastafaricreative.com. If you have a youth, you want to register for the summer camp, the STEAM summer camp. It's going to be all about the youths, them building that future that we envision using STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So make sure you check that out, rastafaricreative.com. We are currently looking for sponsors. The Lion Voice Network will be a sponsor again this year, financially and otherwise. We will be a media sponsor and we will give financially to the camp. but we're looking for other ones. If you have the means, if you want to give a contribution to the education of the next generation, go to rastafaricreatives.com and give a contribution to the summer camp. We also are preparing this Saturday. We have a special episode. On next Wednesday, we have a special episode taking place. This is going to be on, as we grow as a platform, we are expanding. We're not just Rastafari platform. We are also one of the premier Pan-African platforms. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the book Roots. And we have the grandson and the nephew of Alex Haley next Wednesday, this same time, that will be joining us. So we're very excited about this episode. There's a series of events commemorating this book, Roots. The movie came out the year I was born, 1977. So we have Alex Haley's grandson and his nephew. They'll be on the Lion Voice Network, Lion Talk Live. So the IDMC, the platform, we're not a normal platform. As we grow, we're going to have more Pan-African guests as well as Rastafari guests coming on the platform. So make sure you tune in next Wednesday for that episode. This Saturday, we have Ras Garrett Prince. We're continuing our Saturday morning special where we have Rastafari on the continent, born and raised on the continent. Their voices matter to us. So we are going to have their voice. He's going to talk about the case. So Saturday morning, get up, get your tea, get your meditation. We're talking to Ras Garrett Prince. Big up Queen Mother Moses in the comment section. Global Run Pack, Rastafari Unity Nation, Pan-African Collective for Unity in the Community with Economic Prosperity for Africans at home and abroad. Big up Queen Mother Moses and the work that she is doing. We had a beautiful episode co-hosted by Queen Mother Moses. If you haven't seen that, go and check that out. So Saturday morning, Ras Garrett Prince, that one is going to be awesome. He's a Rastafari attorney like myself. So we're going to get an update on his case. And then Saturday evening, we are going to be reasoning with the founder of the Conscious Reggae Concert, Ras Noah, and Chiwara, one of the artists on the concert. So Saturday, another double header, the morning episode and the evening episode. We're going to be coming forward with that fullness. So if you're not subscribed to the platform, if you're still doubting whether or not we are one of the premier Rastafari and Pan-African platforms, put away your doubt, put away your skepticism, come on board. We're looking for support. We need monthly subscribers in our Lion Pride on Patreon, as little as $10 a month, as little as, you can come in at $5 a month. But I'm saying if you can afford $5, you can afford $10. $5 is $1.25 every strong. That will get you to $5. $10 is $2.50 per strong. Who can afford $2.50? It's just a mindset shift that we're asking. The bigger we are, the more we can do to impact the community and to put us on the right direction. We are here to uplift our community and to build the alternative. And Rastafari independent non-aligned media is part of the equation of any healthy community, any healthy ecosystem. You need a robust and powerful media to keep the narrative in check. We cannot allow the artist alone to be the only voice of Rastafari. No disrespect to the artists, but a lot of the artists them gone in a loosey-goosey town lane. And this is not a loosey-goosey trad. So you need the Rastafari independent non-aligned media to make sure so we keep the integrity of our movement, the high level, high frequency reasoning on the airwaves, so that people who are searching, they can come here and know that this is a refuge where then you're not going to find foolishness on this platform. We don't deal with foolishness. You can see all of the reasons, whether it's Rastafari people, whether it's Pan-African people. We are talking high level, forward thinking reasoning. So it's a platform worthy to support. So consider coming on board. 52 strong in the Lion Pride on Patreon. We're trying to get that to 100. It took us 4 years to get past the 50 mark. I think we can do 100 in a month. You know what I mean? I know for a fact that there are 50 Lion Pride members who love the channel. They just need that extra nudge to say, you know what, let me support what's happening. And remember, we're starting our grant program. So if you want to nominate someone to get the $100 grant, you know, call it a stipend, call it a grant, whatever you want. If you want to nominate someone, you have to be a member of the Patreon. And if you want to vote, you have to be a member of the Patreon, and you have to attend our monthly town hall meeting. Our next town hall meeting will be on June 28th. So join us as we build out our grant program. As the platform grows, that amount will grow as well. So we're starting with $100, but as the platform grows, we want to grow that into $1,000, $10,000. You know what I mean? That we can just give to someone who's doing powerful works in the community. Every month we make sure we are giving a grant. But just like this channel started from nothing, and now we're 73,800 plus strong, we're going to start our grant program with $100, and we're going to build it. We only have 52 people in our Patreon. At some point, we want to have 10,000 people in the Patreon, and then we can really do some work. So the vision is to have the platform funded by the audience as a major funder, but we also are opening up ads. If you want to advertise with the platform, reach out to us. Big up Sister Devani Green, our latest sponsor, who's advertising with us. Her book, Woman in Purple, is a vigilante story about women who take on vigilantism to their self and start chop up, you know what I mean, all the rapists them, you know what I mean. It's one of them story there where the woman them get wassip on the man them, and she was saying to I don't know, Ras, if you want to promote this story because, you know, the women are, there's violence. And I said, who the woman them a chop up? And she said, the rapist. I said, of course. Remember say my daughter named Yasantua. Remember say Anaya Bingi, we chant, you know. So we don't have a problem with powerful women executing judgment on weak heart and wicked. You know what I mean? So Woman Painted Purple, we are pushing that book. Buy the book. We're going to have the link in the description for the next few videos. So make sure you support Sister Devani. She's spending her money on marketing her book with us. So we want to reward that by the Lion Pride buying the book. Remember, I am the reading Ras. We are creating an economic system. Also remember, iRoots Records, the largest store of Midnight Von Benjamin music. They just released a new rhythm, the Black Star Line of Rebirth with Fred Locks. 7 Miles of Black Star Line, and they have the updated version. Check it out. iRoots Records, one of our other blessed sponsors, and then of course Conscious Reggae Concert. Make sure you're there if you're in Jamaica to see the Abyssinians live in Kingston, Jamaica. Sata Masagana, some say, is one of the greatest reggae songs of all time. I would agree, but my song is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The intro alone is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, supposed to win a Grammy to I. That's one of my favorite songs in life. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the Abyssinians. Go and Google it after this episode and tell me if it's not one of the greatest songs you ever heard in your life. You know what I mean? The harmony, everything. And they're going to be performing that live in Kingston. We are going to be interviewing them here on the Lion Voice. So stay tuned. I'm going to announce that. If you haven't seen our episode with Dawe Congo, make sure you go and watch that. The second clip has dropped. It's gonna be massive. You know what I mean? The whole movements. So we are doing what we can to again bring the item unique, authentic Rastafari content. We still are growing the community. We need more strength. We need more Patreon members. We need more Ubuntu Lion Pride members. Big up to Rootsman Sonny, who was our latest Ubuntu Lion Pride member. We need more of the item to come on board. Let us make history. We already are making the history, but let us amplify as we get into this Armageddon struggle. Let us have our own voice as Rastafari and add, you know what I mean, to the strength. Why? Because the time has come for the Lions to tell our own story. And this is the Lion Voice. I don't know, family. I'm trying to play the intro and the intro like it don't want to play. I don't know.
Yo, blessed love. This is Max Breeze. It's time for the Lions to tell them own story. See? God bless.
Blessed love. Yes, Lion Voice Network.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the Lions to tell our own story. This is the Lion's Voice.
African pride, root of all nations, boy. I tried with the lion, the Rastafari. Lion of it tried with lioness like I too. Empress on the front line, we need you. Well, this is Medicine, the steady one, and you are now tuned in to the Lion's Voice Network. What the lion fought for do? Scorch them. Roast and parch them.
Empress Manel, a lion scientist. Oh, your role universally unfold. Be told. Blessed love, this is Itege Idama, and it's time for the lioness and the lion's voices to be heard. This is the Lion's Voice, Rastafari.
Greetings, this is Warrior King, and the time has come for the lions and the lioness to tell their own story. This is the Lion's Voice. Give thanks and praise for the wonderful blessing that's been poured on me. Give thanks and praise. Jah use I as an instrument to set the people free. Jah give her the power to chant. Jah give her the power to chant. Rastafari, the lion's voice.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice, Rastafari.
Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to the lion voice, because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.
Yeah, I a gift. Yes, coming together. How good and how pleasant it is for brethren and sisters to dwell together in perfect love and unity. It's like a precious ointment.
Yeah, come on. This is the liberty. Yo, yo. Every day more positive energy. This is the liberty. Yo, yo. Live life, ride life to infinity. This is the liberty. Yo, yo. Up in the heights with the might of the Trinity. This is the liberty. Yo, yo. Live life just like His Majesty. Hey yo, wake up in the morning, give thanks and praise. Give thanks for this life, cause these are difficult days. Gotta hold the liberty, gotta make a stand. I'm not a thug, I'm more of a family man. Can't just think about today, cause tomorrow will come. Gotta set the foundation for the youth while they're young. With education, it's the information age. If you don't got knowledge, then you live as a slave.
Yeah, it's such a natural way to live. And no matter what you face, be positive and just move to the vision that you wanna be. We all are free, so tap into the liberty. His Majesty taught me many things, you know. I listen to him, he's the king of kings, you know. I bomb tracks with the powers, fly to the new flower with the
iRoots Records, an online shop for reggae and dub vinyl, CDs and Rastafari books. Rastafari owned and operated for over 15 years. We ship worldwide. We have many titles from frontline publications in stock. We have 50 plus Akabeka Midnight titles, which we believe is the most of any shop in the world. Special invite for the Lion Pride. Use code Lion's Voice and save 10% store-wide. If you spend $125 or more, the discount goes up to 15%. Visit us online at www.irootsrecords.com. The time has come.
321 Productions and RBG Alliance presents the 3rd annual Conscious Reggae Concert Family Unity Fest,
featuring the Abyssinians, Aisha Bell, Mary Isaacs, Ragalux, I Brave, and many more at the Jammings in New Kingston. 2,500 pre-sold, 3,000 at the door. Children under 12 for free. Don't miss the Abyssinians live in Kingston, Jamaica. Can't be missed. History.
In the haunting echoes of violence against women in St. Anne, Jamaica, a mysterious vigilante emerges. For the Woman Painted Purple unfurls a gripping narrative of empowerment, retribution, and the pursuit of justice. Brenda and her group sisters bond together in therapy over their common struggles, but soon their group becomes the subject of an investigation. As the vigilante's actions escalate, the relentless detective, Officer Woodley, races to unmask the mystifying figure. For the Woman Painted Purple, is a pulse-pounding tale that explores the boundaries of justice, revenge, and the fighting spirit. This thrilling saga delves into the complexities of dealing with mental health, coping with domestic abuse, and finding love after. Own your copy today. Visit www.davanigreen.com.